Welcome to pmplounge.com. Today we have a question at Lounge Fever. By the way, Lounge Fever is where we tackle your burning questions. We answer them for you. And if they are really good questions that may help the larger audience, we make a video on it. So, a question that came up today was, where does change come from? So, how does a change come into your project, right? Where is this change born? You were going all good, everything was fine and dandy, everything was on plan. How did this change occur? So that is what we are tackling today. And before moving ahead, I'll show you the question that came up on PMP Lounge YouTube channel, basically. By the way, if you're not subscribed to PMP Lounge YouTube channel, do consider subscribing. A minor plug there. All right, so the question that came in from Imran was, can you please elaborate about change request process? I have conflicting information that executing process group create change requests while manage and control outputs are also change requests. So what Imran is basically suggesting here is that executing process groups, they create change requests and manage and control outputs are also change requests, which mean manage and control processes are also creating change requests, right? So how is that possible? So he's kind of confused. Let's try to understand. Let's dive deep into this question. So it's important to understand what exactly is a change request. And if we have our definitions clear, we'll be able to kind of clearly understand how does a change gets introduced in the project? Where does a change come from? So a formal proposal, do mind the word formal here. A change request has to be formal. So a formal proposal to modify any document, deliverable, or baseline is a change request. I emphasized on the word formal because if you're having lunch with a coder and he tells you that he wants to modify a piece of code which is not there in the requirements but will be good for project and it is coming from the coder, you cannot allow that to happen. It has to come formally to you, right? And what is the procedure to kind of get a change request formally? We'll discuss that as well. So first up, it is important to understand that change requests are always formal and it is a proposal, which means it could be allowed or it could be not allowed. So it is a formal process that change requests go through. Change requests are always proposals. And this could basically lead to modification of a document deliverable or a baseline. So that is what a change request is. Now, if you kind of realized it already, and if you haven't realized it already, this formal proposal can come in at any point in time, right? A change request is essentially a proposal that is coming to the project manager. It can come when the project is at any process, when the project is at any stage, right? A change request can come in from anywhere. Any stakeholder might come up with a formal, might follow the formal process and propose you a change, right? So how is it possible that a change request is restricted to any certain processes? It is not that way, and that is the reason why it is important to realize that change requests can come from anywhere. And I'd like to add to this statement that it can come at any point of time in your project, right? When a change request comes in, you cannot say that your project is in executing phase, so I will not accept change request. You cannot say that I'm monitoring my project right now, so come to me day after tomorrow, and that's when I will talk to you about this change request. You cannot say that you are executing something, or let's say you are into planning itself. And a lot of planning is already done, and now you cannot accept a change. That is not how it works. So it is important to realize, like I said, that change requests can come from anywhere and at any point of time. Now, there is a process known as perform integrated change control, and that is the process where all the change requests come for analysis and a decision on whether to approve the change request or not is taken. So, like I mentioned in the first statement itself, that it is a formal proposal. A proposal may be approved or denied. So that decision is taken in the perform integrated change control process. The approved changes are obviously implemented, the others are not implemented. So where do these approved changes go? Let's take a look at that. So first is the direct and manage project work process. This process, if you see in inputs, number 2 is approved change requests. So direct and manage project work, this entire process is basically about doing the actual work of the project. So if the requests, the change requests, the formal proposals, that is change requests, if they are approved, they form an input in the direct and manage project work process, which is basically a process wherein we do the actual work of the project. So this is where approved change requests come in, and we have the tools and techniques as expert judgment, project management, information systems, meetings, and the output is change requests. Now you may ask, how come approved change requests came in and change requests are the outputs as well? So approved change requests is an input, output is change requests. How is that possible? Well, that is possible because let's say, let's take an example. You are constructing a building, all right? You had 10 elevators to be installed in that building. And the 10 elevators were made so that each floor will have at least 5 elevators covering it. So that means 5 elevators would stop at even floors and 5 elevators would stop at odd floors. Now, there was an approved change request of adding an 11th elevator. All right, so there's an 11 lift. So 11th lift basically that is added. So this request was approved. Now, when you implemented it, you found that we need a 12th lift as well, just to keep things evened out on all the floors. So you've got 5 floors, even 5 floors that are odd. You've got 10 lifts earlier. Now you've got 11 lifts. You need one more lift to keep everything evenly covered. So the 11th lift addition was an approved change request, which led to a change request for 12th elevator. So that is how approved change requests may also lead to change requests. The other thing is, approved change request could be something which was related to the elevator, the 11th elevator. But while we were doing the work, we realized that we need extra power as well to power up those lifts. And that's when there was a certain change required at the uh, power domain, basically, right? We need extra power. So there's a change request in the power domain. So that is how approved change requests can also result into change requests. And it is also not required necessarily that these approved change requests result in some change requests. It is quite possible that the approved change requests do not result in any change request, but while you are doing the work, you find something absolutely different. You find an issue with, let's say, the water supply in the building. So while you were working on basically you're working on the project, you had a change request which was approved for the lifts. There's another change request that came up while you were working on the project and that was related to water supply. So there's a new change request for you. All right, so that is how change requests are generated. Now, another process, which is control procurements, this is where, if you see in the inputs, number 4 is approved change requests. This is also an input, while the output, you also find change requests, right? Number 2 is change requests. Inputs number 4, you can see approved change requests. So again, this is one of the processes which takes approved change requests as an input, because this pertains to procurement. If something has changed in terms of procurement, it needs to be implemented here. The last one is control quality, and this is also in the inputs. You can see number 5 is approved change requests, and output will also be a change request, right? So number 5 in outputs, you can see change requests. So wherever approved change requests are inputs, you will find that change requests are outputs as well, because the approved change request may lead to new change requests, or approved change request may not lead to new change request, but there could be something else which might have arisen, right, which led to change requests. So that is how it is. So how many of these processes, as of PMBOK 5, we have 47 processes. How many of these processes generate change requests? The 3 processes that you see on the screen are the ones which accept approved change requests. But how many of these 47 processes generate change requests? Now, these 3 we know are taking approved change requests as inputs and are also generating change requests, but there are many more processes that generate change requests. Let's take a look at them. So this is the perform integrated change control process. Now just take a look at the change requests coming in from the different processes. To your left on the top, 5.5 validate scope. Then you've got control scope, control schedule, control costs, perform quality assurance, control quality, manage project team, control communications, control risks, plan procurement management, conduct procurements, control procurements, manage stakeholder engagement, control stakeholder engagement. All these processes are generating change requests. So I let that sink in for some time so that you could kind of take a look at it. But if you see, you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. There are 14 processes out of the 47 processes that are generating change requests. Now, like I said in the beginning of this video, these 14 processes are generating change requests, but these are not the only processes that can generate change requests. Change requests are independent of processes. Change requests can come from anywhere, but these 14 processes, it is highly likely that you may get change requests as outputs. Now, the other two which processes which generate change requests as well is, if you can see in the darker shaded rectangle, you can see 4.4, which is monitor and control project work. This also generates change requests. You can see 4.3, direct and manage project work. This also generates change requests. Now, all of these change requests, they go into the perform integrated change control process, which is the central 4.5 box, if you can see. And these all these change requests, which have come from 16 different processes, by the way, and might have come from anywhere else as well, right? All of these go into perform integrated change control. And if you could see, the approved change requests go out to first 4.3 direct and manage project work. It also goes out to 8.3 control quality to your right, and it also goes out to 12.3 control procurements, again just below 8.3. So direct and manage project work, control quality, and control procurements. We already saw these three in the previous slide of this video. So there are 16 processes. This is the bottom line. There are 16 processes explicitly mentioned in the PMBOK that generate change requests. Other than that, it is possible that change requests may come in from anywhere. Tomorrow, your testing team might tell you that there is a defect in the code which leads to a change in the requirements. This is quite possible that it didn't come from any of these processes, right? It is also possible that it actually came from these processes when they were doing the monitoring and controlling work. So, like I said, change requests can come from anywhere, but approved change requests are fed only to three processes, which are direct and manage project work, which is the actual work, control quality, and control procurements. Now, this is the inputs and outputs for the perform integrated change control. So inputs number 3, you can see change requests are your inputs, the tools and techniques, expert judgment meetings, change control tools, and then you get approved change requests, which are then fed to the three processes I just mentioned. So some important definitions that you should definitely consider and kind of go through to understand this topic in a clearer fashion. Change control, which is a process whereby modifications to documents, deliverables, or baselines associated with the project are identified, documented, approved, or rejected by the change control board. So this is the change control process. What is the Change Control Board? Well, this is a formally chartered group responsible for reviewing, evaluating, approving, delaying, or rejecting changes of a project and for recording and communicating such decisions. A project manager may or may not be a part of the Change Control Board. A sponsor should be a part of the Change Control Board ideally, and ideally project managers should also be a part of the Change Control Board, right? There are other people as well, right? Engineering managers could be part of the Change Control Board. SMEs could be part of the Change Control Board. So these guys basically review all changes that come in from those 16 processes that we just talked about. Perform integrated change control process, the process that we discussed in detail in previous slides. So what it basically does is it reviews all change requests, approve changes and manage changes to deliverables, organizational process assets, project documents and project management plan, and communicates their disposition. So those were some of the important definitions you should definitely consider when you talk about change requests. So that is all that we had with this video. Hope you have a clear understanding now of what is a change request. There are 16 processes that can generate these change requests. The change request can come from anywhere else as well. There are three processes wherein the approved change requests go in. Change requests, all of these 16 processes that generate change requests go into the integrated change control process. So hope you understood the integrated change control process as well. And in that process itself is where the change control board goes over all these change requests, and then they are fed into the three processes which take approved change requests as the input. So if you like this video, do hit the like button and subscribe to this YouTube channel if you haven't done so already. You can check us out on our social media, facebook.com/PMP Lounge and twitter.com/PMP Lounge for the latest updates. And as always, check out the website pmplounge.com for free articles and other helpful stuff that are going to help you in your PMP exam as well as project management industry information. Thank you.